Hi everybody, the Home Service Pro here. In today's video, I got a phone call from a customer that said their bathroom sink is leaking. It's kind of a unique sink. I'll show you what we have going on and how we're going to fix it. Let's get after it.
All right guys, so this is the sink that we'll be working on. As you can see, what makes it unique is the countertop itself is clear glass. The bowl itself is clear glass. So what we'll be working on is they claim when they turn it on, it was leaking all over the floor. So I took a look at it a minute ago. So back here, as you can see, you got the slip extension. It goes down to what's called a bottle trap back there. I'll pull that out and show you what that is. But that bottle trap is leaking. So we're gonna go ahead and take this apart and I'll show you how we're gonna fix it and we'll go from there. I'll be right back. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start taking this apart. A little bit different of a unique view from the top because of the clear glass top there. So I'm gonna slide this trim plate back. This is the nut. We got to loosen this nut up here at the wall. Okay. Well, let's see what happened there. Oh, all right. So let's pull. Pull that down. Get this out of here. So obviously this has been going on for a while because they got a glass down here catching the water. So let's take a look. This is the bottle trap I was telling you about, but obviously it fell apart. Well, that's what's left of it. You can see it actually just rotted away. Normally, this would come down into the top of it like so. And then coming out the front of it would be this other part here. It'd come out and attach to the wall, and all that water would gather up in the bottom of this, and that's why they call this a bottle trap. We're going to replace this with an actual 1¼ inch P-trap. I got to run and grab some parts, and I'll be right back, and we'll get this all put back together the right way. It also looks like, at one point in time, somebody had this taped together instead of put together properly. I don't know, is there another part up in there? Let me take a look. Oh yeah, there's still more pieces up in here. Oh, well that stays on there. That's the actual tailpiece for the faucet. So they just had this glue style extension taped onto the actual tailpiece for the sink. So we're going to do it the proper way. I'll show you what the difference is. You can see this is like a slip extension where you glue this right onto the pipe, but it's a metal pipe up in there, so they can't glue that on, so they just taped it on and thought that'd be all right. So let's go ahead and get this mess cleaned up. I'll get some parts and I'll be right back.
I did want to show you what the actual tailpiece on the sink looks like. So if I go up in here like this, you kind of see up in there, that's the tailpiece. That actually is part of the drain assembly, and that's the metal part that I was talking about that they just taped that slip extension to. So I just wanted to show you that, and we'll go ahead and get this cleaned up and we'll move on.
All right guys, so this is some of the fittings we'll be using. We got an 1¼ inch P-trap. Then we have an 1¼ inch slip extension. At one end of the slip extension, this will go up onto the tailpiece of the sink, that chrome piece that I showed you down underneath. Then at this end, it'll just slide on to the P-trap into this slip side here, and then the water will go through the P-trap, comes out this side, and terminate into the wall here. And so this here, I'm going to reuse a couple of the fittings that were on the old P-trap because it doesn't come with the new P-trap. Some of them do, some of them don't. This one just doesn't. If you watch some of my other videos, there's actually a video where I explain to you the different types of ferrules and what they look like and how they can be used. So I'm going to go ahead and get this camera set back up underneath there, and we'll get this thing fixed up and get it tested.
All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to get that slip extension I showed you, this guy here. We want to get this up onto the tailpiece of the sink so we can get a measurement on it. So you're going to take your nut, and the nut's going to go up on just like this with the threads facing down. The ferrule, as you can see, it's beveled. we're gonna have the beveled edge facing down, the flat edge facing up. So it's gonna go together just like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide these onto that tailpiece, the tailpiece that's up underneath the sink here. We'll get that on there. There we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and slide this slip extension up on. And then I'm actually gonna just get the nut started down here, just so it'll hold in place for me while I'm hooking up the P-trap. We may have to trim this down. I won't know until I get the trap down in here and kind of size it up. So here we go, that's hanging there now. Let me get the P-trap. Okay, so here's the P-trap, and here's the adapter. So this is the side that the pipe that we have in there is going to slide into. This here, you can see that it has a beveled edge here. The beveled edge goes into this, and then the nut just simply tightens down, and that makes that friction seal by just tightening that beveled edge down inside that nut. So I'm not going to tighten this all the way down yet, because I can see right here, that's my drain height right there. Okay, so I'm gonna have to trim this down a little bit because it's not back in too far, possibly. And then I'm gonna go put this in here like this so I can see my flange tailpiece. And actually that's gonna work out pretty darn good without having to do a whole lot to it at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some nuts and stuff on here. I'll get this top tightened up. Let me go ahead and pull this back off. There we go. So remember I told you I was gonna use some of the old nuts from the existing P-trap that was here. So they actually have this, it's called an excussion, this trim plate. I'm going to slide that on first. Again, I'm going to take this ferrule. This is a used ferrule, but it's got the beveled edge. The beveled edge always goes toward the actual pipe, actually toward the thread. First thing I got to do is put this nut on, threads facing away, and then the beveled edge facing toward the drain. Okay, so now I have this side prepped. I'm going to set that down there for a minute. So up on that slip extension that I have in there, the part that I already installed, we got to put another nut and another ferrule on that in order to tighten it to the P-trap. So we're going to put the nut with the threads face down, the flat side up, right on the bottom of this slip extension. And you just got to get it up on there just a little bit because that P-trap will slide up on there. All right, so I got that started. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this into the wall. We're going to get the nut. And we're just going to get this started lightly, just so it's kind of holding there. So it'll still slide in and out for us, things like that. Just going to get it to where it's starting to snug up a little bit, right there. Okay, so now I got to get my P-trap, the flange part, inside the slip extension. Okay, I got the slip extension started now. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get my hands in here to get that nut started. So what I'm going to do, because it's really tight in there, I'm going to actually take my P-trap apart right here. I'm going to take this 90 off from there. And I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to disconnect it from the wall just to get it out of my way for a minute, so I can get that nut started on my P-trap. Now I can reach straight in here and get to that nut. This thing's kind of cool looking, but it's not very friendly as far as working on it. All right, so I got that started, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of snug this right down a little bit. There we go. Check my upper nut and make sure that we're good there.
I'll get that tightened up just a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this, the rest of the trap back together. We're going to go ahead and shove that into the wall. We're going to get this nut started on top of the P-trap again. With a normal sink, this would not be this hard. It's just I'm having a really hard time seeing what I'm doing here. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and get this nut tightened down pretty decent here, because we're pretty close to being lined up and hooked up. So now we're going to restart this stuff that goes back into the wall. There we go. I can go ahead and snug this right down. And you don't need to get super mean with this stuff because it's all rubber sealed. We'll set that excussion over that. We'll double check our nuts here, make sure everything's tight. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and run some water in the sink and we'll check it for leaks. All right, there we go. So we got everything is tight. There's no leaks. We ran the water for a while.
Well, there you go, guys. We got the old bottle trap removed that was leaking and broken, just corroded away. Put a new P-trap in. It's working the way that it's supposed to with no leaks. The customer's happy. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps us grow. Have a great day, and remember, you got this. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks.